Hello YouTube chess lovers and my friends, this is Gunjan here. Welcome to my third episode of Killer Mini Chess Traps. In this episode, we are going to look at 3 wonderful mini opening chess traps, and the content are as follows. The first trap occurs in the Elephant Gambit, which arises after the following move order: e4, e5, knight to f3, and now d5. Here white has 2 choices, but we are looking at the second most popular choice by white, namely knight captures e5, and after we play d captures e4, white has this lethal attacking move, bishop to c4, which straight away put the question mark to the black camp. Well, if you really like the shilling gambit, then this is the upgrade version, as the idea and the concepts are very much similar. And here black plays this super tactical move, queen to g5, inviting white to do your worst on the f7. Let's check out what is going to happen if white capture on f7. The first option is very natural, knight captures f7, attacking 2 major guys, but in fact it's a big time blunder, and I hope you indeed know the refutation. Yup, the first move is queen captures g2, counter-attacking the white rook, and after rook to f1, black has this star move, bishop to g4, and that poor queen is trapped there. And to rescue her, white has to either play the move f3 or the move bishop to e2. In either case, he is going to lose the game instantly. Well, bishop to e2 is a pretty bad move. The simple reason is the support on f7 has been gone, and now the simple transaction, bishop takes, queen takes, and now king captures f7, and black emerge with a clear piece advantage. Okay, what happens instead of bishop to e2? White played the move f3. This is even worse, guys, as after bishop captures f3, rook captures f3, and now the winning blow, pawn captures f3, and white doesn't have time to capture the rook in the corner, as after the simple continuation, f2 check, king to e2, and now double discover check, which allows black to choose between taking the queen or checkmating the white in 3 moves with queen to g5. So if your opponent goes for the knight captures f7, then game can be finished very quickly. Probably the best move in this position is bishop captures f7, but still I want to show you a high profile trap in this line, as after king to e7, black is attacking 2 pieces, so white response is force. White has to play d4, attacking our queen. And more or less we continue with the same theme. Yup, queen captures g2, rook to f1, and this time around bishop to h3, threatening the rook, and white can't play queen to e2, as black is indeed going to take on f1. That means white has the only response in this position, bishop to c4, saving the rook, and now black play this very cunning move, knight to d7, trying to dislodge the knight on the e5 square. This position has been occurred few times in the database, and here white can play any other moves except knight to f7, which looks more natural, as now white has saved his rook on f1. Why not go for the grabbing the rook in the corner and becoming a piece up? Well, that's the natural response, but in fact it's a disaster zone, as after black's next reply, knight to b6, the c4 bishop is an overloaded piece, as he has to defend two babies, and now by force he has to give up one of them. The best white can do over here is queen to e2, supporting the bishop, but after the following continuation, knight captures c4, queen captures c4. Yes, indeed, now queen is defending both the piece, but it's a different story, as black can now capture the rook on f1 square, and after queen takes, bishop takes. If white take over bishop, then king takes f7 and black emerge with a piece up. So accordingly, white has to go for the rook hunt with knight captures h8. And when black save his bishop with bishop to g2, for a time being, yes, if you count the material, it is equal, but look at the poor knight stuck in the corner, as he is not going to see a daylight, and after some simple moves, black will again emerge with a piece advantage. So these are some of the wonderful mini traps exist in the Elephant Gambit in knight captures e5 line. The second mini trap is one of my favorite, as currently I'm trying the English defense regularly, and I must tell you, there are players up till 2200 fall for this trap. The English defense arises after the following order: d4, e6, c4, b6, knight to c3, bishop to b7, and now as per the theory, the most popular choice is e4, white grabbing every single space in the center of the board. And accordingly, black tried to attack this fragile center with bishop to b4, threatening e4. So white response is very obvious: bishop to d3, supporting the e4. But now comes the star move, which sets up a cunning trap, and that is f5. So once again, black has renewed the threat on e4. And if your opponent continue here with either the move d5 or f3, then you can always take on e4 and followed by knight to f6, which always gives black a very comfortable game. So in many games, white has done this blunder, namely e captures f5, thinking that black has made an error and now I'm going to expose black king. But in fact, now it is white who is losing on the spot. As if you remember my Matinowski Gambit video, yup, bishop captures g2, and no matter however white wriggles, his rook is going to hunt down in near future. Okay, let's look at the most critical line, queen to h5 check. And the key theme you have to remember is, once your bishop is out, the king has this wonderful safe square, king to f8. And even though black position looks somewhat shaky, believe me, this is a completely safe and winning position for the black camp. In fact, in the database, there are 2 international masters fall for this trap, so you can see the potential of this line. Now to illustrate how easy black game is, I like to show you one of my quickest win against a 2200, where my opponent continued with pawn takes e6, threatening a checkmate. And once again, the key move in this position is queen to e8, not only attacking e6, but threatening queen exchange, which is also not desirable for the white camp. Okay, my opponent continued with this queen check, and I simply respond with knight to f6. And now you see the danger, as white is definitely going to be pieced down very soon. Well, in the game he tried knight to e2, and after bishop captures h1, he responded with bishop to g5. He really wanted to quickly castle on the queen side and expose my king. But in reality, he doesn't have time for all this. I simply respond with queen captures e6, again trying to exchange the queen. And obvious enough, my opponent declined with queen to f4. Okay, now it's black turn to cash in. So bishop captures c3, taking advantage of the pin knight. White has to take with the pawn, and after that, the winning move of the game, bishop to e4, which turned out to be too strong for the white camp. Well, he tried bishop captures f6, but this has all been calculated, as after bishop captures d3, yes, white has this wonderful bishop which is threatening a discover check, but is there any threat from the white? The answer is nope. He tried bishop to e5, but after queen to f7, bishop captures c7, I simply exchange the queen and then take on c4. And at this point, my opponent counted the material and he realized that he is a rook down for obviously no compensation, so he resigned the game. The third and the final mini trap happened against the Dutch defense, which arises after the move order d4, f5, and now this very cunning move h3, planning to play g4. Well, I have tried this line few times online, and what I observed that many Dutch players are not very well prepared against it. For example, the most obvious move, knight to f6, can be responded with g4, and if black now decline this gambit with either the move e6 or d5, then the space white gain on the king side is a deciding factor in upcoming middle game. So let's see what happens after black take this gambit with pawn takes g4, h takes g4, and now knight takes g4. Okay, white's big idea is he wants to play queen to d3, attacking on h7, and funny enough, black has the only response, namely g6. But again, if you check this position in online database, you will find out that knight to f6 has been tried many times, even by 2300 rated opponent, thinking that they have covered all the bases. But what they missed out is this killer blow. Boom! So there are two ways black can capture the rook, and in both the case, his king is going to be checkmated. So that's not an option, and when black make a space for his king, let's say e6, then white can come in with queen to g6 check, king to e7, and now simply taking the rook on h8. And with a piece up, black has a misplaced king. It is just a matter of time with a quick victory for the white camp. I like to also point out that after the move g6, black is not out of the trouble, as after the simple continuation bishop to g5, d5 and knight to c3, black can never play the move bishop to g7 because of the simple tactic, and this you have to know. Yup, rook captures h7, and after rook takes h7 and the move queen captures g6, at the end of the sequence, not only white emerged with an extra pawn, but black's open king literally asked for the trouble zone in the upcoming middle game. So this is one of the wonderful attacking line against Dutch defense, which also contain some nasty traps. That's it guys, I hope you enjoy and learn this wonderful mini trap lecture. Feel free to like, subscribe and comment on my video, and in future I will come up with more. Till then, bye and take care.